Hi, my name is Nelly Lynch and I'm the founder and CEO of Herstory, and I'm delighted that you're here today to join us for Herstory's 5th birthday. It's a really special day. 5 years later, we've been on quite a journey, and we just want to say a big thank you to all of our supporters and our funders and our followers who have made this movement what it is. It's been a really monumental, amazing 5 years. So today we've got a really brilliant lineup of speakers and performers for you. But first, I'd like to just introduce you to the new movement project and the inspiration behind this new project. I finally got the chance to put my degree thesis into action 12 years later, and it's really been a very inspirational journey. We've learned the stories of migrant women from over 20 countries all around the world through this process in the last year. So I'm going to share a little presentation with you just to give you a feel for what we've been up to. Lots of mischief, as always, in Herstory HQ. So back in my teenage days, I went to a really wonderful school called Wilson's Hospital School, and this school was perched on the hilltop in the middle of nowhere in rural Ireland. And would you believe it, there were 29 nationalities in this school. The only two continents that weren't represented were the Arctic and the Antarctica. And it was a real melting pot environment. Differences celebrated. We had a genuine interest in other faiths and other cultures. The question where are you from, rather, it was never racist in this context because everybody was an outsider. I was a Catholic in a Protestant school, so that made me an outsider in the Republic. The Protestants were a minority in the South, and then we had these wonderful different nationalities. It was a real melting pot. It was an amazing experience, I suppose, and an insight into the potential for a multicultural, thriving Ireland, long before immigration became a big theme in Irish culture. So I saw the potential and I got really excited. And to be honest with you, I thrived in school because of this environment. It was just a real eye-opener into other cultures and other ways of seeing things and doing things and new stories and new influences. And it was just extraordinary. I was very, very blessed. And I really only now understand how blessed I was, to be honest. So then I went on to university. I went to art college in the UK, and my degree tutor in theory studies, he had a passion for African American music, and it was quite infectious and it rubbed off on me. So I wrote my degree thesis on deconstructing colonial ideologies and racial stereotyping. And I wrote this thesis during Obama's historic presidential campaign. I have to be honest, I had 2 weeks of insomnia writing this thesis because I suppose I got a glimpse into the imperial British psyche and how it had invented toxic propaganda and crude racial stereotyping to justify colonialism and domination and slavery. I mean, it's incredibly dark history. So 12 years later, I finally found the courage and the creative solution to this research that I did. But I think one big insight for me is that this idea of diversity it's not a modern buzzword. It's actually an ancient truth. It's a beautiful ancient truth. Because if you look at this map from the National Geographic, this map charts the migratory flow of human beings long before the invention of the wheel. This is going back tens of thousands of years ago. So we are actually a migratory species. We're hardwired to migrate. It's absolutely natural and absolutely normal. I think it's very important to highlight this fact because it's kind of toyed around like a modern buzzword. And I love Irish mythology and Irish history because it's great insight into the ancient wisdom of our people. And would you believe that the origin story of Ireland, one of the great origin stories, is the story of Cessor. And Cessor was a migrant woman. She was a woman who came from somewhere else. She came from Sudan, and she traveled all across the known world to reach Ireland to form the new Ireland. And she was Noah's granddaughter. That's how the story goes. And Noah wouldn't give her a boat. So she built her own boat and she sailed off to Ireland. She was quite the feminist trailblazer of her time. And she only needed 50 women and only three men to populate the island of Ireland. And so this is one of the great origin stories of Ireland. It is it really renders Homer's Odyssey pale in comparison. I'd urge you to read the story on the Herstory website. So we are the people, Irish people are the people who always came from somewhere else, and that's part of our core mythology. It's also, we choose the narrative of the not chosen people. We love being the not chosen people. I suppose it renders us in a very humble and down-to-earth position, in that we don't feel ourselves superior in any way to anybody else. I think maybe that's one of the reasons why we're so loved around the world. So for me, you hear these words, emigration and immigration, and the reality is they're two sides of the same story, but the fact is they're treated very differently. And we see that in Ireland. We're seeing the double standards in the treatment of Irish immigrants who go all around the world, and then how we treat immigrants coming into Ireland. I was acutely aware that when I lived and worked in London and Paris, that I was traveling on an Irish passport and I have white skin. Even though our history is very black and it's colonial history, we do have, we have a European base and the west of Europe, and we're very lucky in that sense. But it's almost a paradox to our history. So we're acutely aware of the realities of immigrants, and I suppose what they're experiencing around the world, because that was our story too. And I love this. It's such a powerful image from the National Geographic that really captures the reality of migration and why we should be so much more compassionate and open to the immigrants who come to the new Irish who come to live in Ireland. But for me, look, this is back to third level theory, university theory, but borders and nationalities, race, they're all fabrications. They've been invented by colonialism. They're not necessarily the reality. They're bigger truths that we need to focus on. And these are polarities, and they're used as divisive forces. They create conflict, they create inequality, and they create separation consciousness. But they conceal the big fundamental fact that we are one humanity, and you know what, we're all in this together, whether we like it or not. That's the reality of it. So these are once constructed ideologies, and now you're seeing them slowly but surely. They're starting to deconstruct, and I think that's the beauty of one of the great beauties of the pandemic, is it's teaching us that. That these borders and nationalities are fabrications, that we're so much more connected than we could ever realize. So what is civilization? Well, I spent some time with the tribes in Kenya, the Samburu, the Pokot, the Kalenjin tribes, Maasai, and it was such an eye-opener to me. Their depth, their rootedness to nature, the fundamentals of what it meant to be human, they were connected to. So family, nature, good food, community, storytelling. It's so fundamental, and the words capitalism and consumerism, they don't exist in their vocabulary, and selfie culture, all this nonsense that we've invented in the West. There are layers and layers upon layers that remove us from who we truly are. And actually what fundamentally makes us happy is incredibly simple. So when I spent time with the tribes, I really started to question what it meant to be civilized. And personally, I feel like in the West, we could learn a lot from Africa and a lot from tribal cultures. I was very blessed. I got to work with Cookie and Svevel Galman, two very brilliant, powerful women in Kenya, up on the Great Rift Valley in Laikipia. And it was a real eye-opener for me, challenged my thinking a lot. Herstory wouldn't exist without its experience. I'm a Kenyan at heart, really, at soul. But I think, there's this big illusion and a delusion in the West that we have to save Africa. But my question is, how can Africa save us? What can we learn from this continent? And what can we learn from tribal peoples in returning to our truth? And this is a project that I'm developing for the future for Herstory, is to return to these tribal truths too. So all insights that are worth sharing. And back in 2017, on Herstory's first birthday, I got to meet the phenomenal Salome, founder of AkiDwA, Ireland's first ever migrant women's organisation. And it's 20 years old today, or not today, this year rather, sorry. So they're celebrating their 20th anniversary this year. We're celebrating our 5th birthday, and they have been doing extraordinary work. Salome, of course, is one of those true activists, in that she never gets a spotlight or the credit that she deserves because she's so busy getting on with the job. And she's just finished her PhD in Trinity College in Dublin about the role of women in conflict resolution and peace building in the Congo. So she's going to share some of those insights with us later on. But it's been really wonderful to work with AkiDwA. They're our partners on the movement project. And I suppose looking to Irish history and what we can share with the world is that we're a vibrant first world country, but we have a very humbling third world memory. This is the wise insightful words of Mary McAleese, the former president of Ireland. And that third world memory, even for my generation, I'm 34 now, would be very live, very real. I mean, I remember like walking past the famine graveyards when I was growing up as a little girl, and witnessing the reality of colonialism, and wanting to heal those tragedies and those traumas too, for my generation and for future generations. But we're very aware of it. We're very conscious of it. So just a little glimpse into my own personal family history. So on the right-hand side, this is a very humble origins of my matrilineal, my mother's line from Northern Ireland. So I got Protestant and Catholic blood from the north. This is my inheritance. So I've both the oppressor and the oppressed in my bloodline. And this is the humble origins. It was really a glorified farmer's shed, cottage, where they lived. And then during the famine, some of our ancestors, they migrated to the US and they sent money home. And the next, you can see on the left-hand side, this beautiful farm building was constructed with the money that was sent home. So I personally have benefited from the courage and the generosity of my ancestors who emigrated to the USA. And they went with very little, skills. They didn't have any formal, really, education that we know of. And yet they completely transformed the trajectory of my whole family. We can receive the finest, public and private education, all thanks to their investment in the family. So hugely grateful for that lineage, but also a glimpse into the reality of the Irish story, that we are this first world country, but we come from very, very humble origins. And I'd say 95% of Irish families could share a similar story to this, It's the greater reality. And these are, on the left-hand side, my great-great-grandparents from Northern Ireland. And like that, they were Catholics who were discriminated against. They had to migrate. They had to leave Northern Ireland, their homeland, because they couldn't get jobs. The Protestants wouldn't give them jobs in the north. So that was an example, I suppose, of colonial discrimination that they experienced. Also, other members of the family, Protestants who married Catholics, and moved beyond the divisions of religion and of ideologies, political ideologies. That is the power of love, to move beyond borders and move beyond divisions. And I'm grateful for that inheritance, that truth and that love I have inherited today. And on the right hand side, my grandmother, who's very much alive and kicking. She's in 3 dance clubs. You can't stop her. Obviously not during COVID now. She's been dancing by herself at home, but before COVID she was dancing in 3 dance clubs. Very much a trailblazer in our family. And I can thank my great grandparents, in particular my great grandfather. He believed that women were equal. There was no question about it, that women were equal and that women should be educated. So my grandmother graduated from university. She was a pharmacist, and she was the second woman in her hometown in Athy to keep her job when she got married. That was a very big deal, that a woman could keep her job. Can you imagine? No stopping her. But of course, with the support of her husband and her father, there was no question that she could keep her job. So very grateful for my inheritance. And this is the Blazing a Trail exhibition that we co-created with EPIC, the Irish Emigration Museum, and the Department of Foreign Affairs. It is the first ever women's exhibition to tour the Irish Embassy network worldwide. Hugely proud of this initiative. And it is currently touring all around the world for the next 5 years. And hopefully it'll tour about 60 embassies by the time it finishes its run. Will it ever finish its run? It's really blazing a trail quite literally around the world. But it tells a story of Irish diaspora women, and the reality is that these women had to leave Ireland to realise their potential, that Ireland simply did not offer them the opportunities at the time. And that, reflecting now, it's only right that the Irish living in Ireland open our hearts and give the new Irish, the Irish immigrants, immigrants from all around the world, the opportunities that our ancestors received around the world too. So really, we have the greatest diaspora in the world. We should be the most compassionate and inclusive country, because this is our story too. So Simon Coveney, he closed his United Nations speech back in 2019 with the very powerful words, "History needs her story. It is not only the right thing to do, but the smart thing to do." And I agree, But this is about the Northern Irish Peace Herons, and I'm going to be sharing that story with you later on. So Movement, it presents the parallel life stories of immigrants and immigrants. And the reason why is because psychology teaches us that there are dualities that exist in our consciousness, in our psychology, and we see things through polarities, polarizing structures. But the reality is the bigger truths that we need to be focusing on are our common humanity. And that's why we tell these stories this way, because when you present the stories side by side, you can see the bigger picture. You can see how much we actually have in common and how much we can learn from each other and how much we can share the potential to thrive and grow together. So myself and Salome, our story is shared on the Herstory website. We're going to be talking with you shortly about our experiences of migration, and this portrait is created by Zaboj Kariko. But it's really about returning to a new era. This is the beginning of a new era, which I believe is the unity and diversity. We are different, but there's a greater force of unity that's holding us together. And that's what we need to really be focusing on in these days. So without further ado, I am going to just share with you a few more pictures from the light show that we just produced in Belfast and in Dublin. These are the students from Hazelwood Integrated College in Northern Ireland, in Belfast, who produce very powerful artworks, sharing their future hopes of peace and their realities of conflict. This is Salome from AkiDwA. There she is lighting up Galway City Museum. And this is Ifra Ahmed, the founder of the Ifra Foundation. She campaigns against FGM worldwide. She's a wonderful activist. Here she is gracing the front page of the Irish Examiner. We woke up on Saturday morning to discover that we made the front page, which is a great honour. And wonderful to see Ifra lighting up the world and lighting up Ireland with this powerful image. Ifra illuminating the GPO in Dublin. This is Fatan Al-Tamimi, the chair of the Irish Palestinian Solidarity Campaign, lighting up the GPO back in 2018. Mary Harney, one of our favourite heroines on the Herstory website. She's a wonderful activist, academic, and a survivor of Vesper Mother and Baby Home. You can read her story, and she's all part of the project. So before I introduce you to the Parallel Peace Project, because that's coming later, next I would like to introduce you to my right-hand woman, Caitlin, who is going to unveil the Movement exhibition.
Hi. Okay, so let me just share my screen for everybody. So the movement that Mel kind of touched on already, the Movement project is all about immigration, and how they're two sides of the same story. So on our website, we worked with this project, and we've worked with AkiDwA in Ireland. We've worked with the Jerusalem Center for Women in Palestine, the IPIS Institute in Slovenia, the Charisma Arts for Development in Egypt, and the Agency for Migration and Adaptation in the Czech Republic. So together we've come up with an international online exhibition. I hope everybody can see my screen. See. Okay, I think everybody can see that now. So this is the movement on our website, the movement section. You can see up here on the top of our website. And third down is the online exhibition. And if you go in here, it will tell you more about the exhibition, and it will give you as well a link to the exhibition here. And so this is stories that were brought from each of the organizations that I just mentioned across the Euro-Mediterranean region. And we all commissioned artists from different areas around the world, really. Over 20 countries have been represented through this exhibition. And this is the result. So it's 22 unique pieces of art, which are all on display and available to view for free on this on the exhibition, which I am having real trouble trying to show to everybody.
Oh, sugar.
Let me just see.
The reality of these technical times, huh?
Yeah. Okay, so I think everybody can see it. So this is what you see on your screen when you go through that link on our website and you just enter the exhibition. Again, completely free for everybody to access. And this is what you're greeted with. So it's very easy to use. You can just look around the exhibition. It's just as if you're in a real exhibition. And 22 unique pieces on there, all by different artists. And to get more information on each of the pictures, you just click them. It'll bring you in closer, you can see it in full. And again, up here, more information on each individual piece of art. So this one is by Oksana. And the two women in the portrait are Nadine and Jasna, and this was put forward by the APIS Institute in Slovenia. So on each portrait within this exhibition, it'll give you a little excerpt about just an introduction into the two women who are in this portrait, and then to read their full story, you just click on the link here and it'll bring you through so that you can read both of their individual stories on the same page. And to exit again, just up there, hit the button and you're good to go to view more of the exhibition. And it's really just impressive to see all this work put together because so much work has gone into it. It's a year's worth of work, and the artists have worked so hard. They were provided with the women's stories, and then they each used their own medium to put together all these incredible pieces. So they're really just stunning work. And we're so excited to be able to kind of put this all out now to the world so that everybody can see it and share in the absolute beauty that is just the different mediums, and everything is just stunning. Very easy to use. And again, just click on the image and it'll bring you in close so you can see it and read about the two women who are in each story. Again, that's Ifra that Mel mentioned already at the beginning, and Mary. And this was done by Aisling Clancy in Sligo here in the west of Ireland. So that is our exhibition. And again, completely free to access. Everybody can access it on our website. So Mel, I'll show it back to you and you can introduce more of the parallel product.
Fantastic. Thank you, Caitlin. I want to say I'm just so proud of you for curating this wonderful exhibition. I know you were so excited. You went all quiet on me. You were busy bee building the exhibition, and then I got to see the finished works. It was really amazing. So well done. Wonderful, wonderful work. So next up, I'd like to introduce our speaker, Salome, who is the founder of AkiDwA. Salome, are you with us?
Hi everyone.
Hello. How are you?
Hi, how are you doing? Happy Africa Day.
Happy Africa Day is right. Congratulations and celebrations.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, it feels great. Although we can't be able to do what we normally do on Africa Day. Actually, Ireland is marking 15 years since we started highlighting Africa Day. And it sounds like a very long time ago, but it was actually great to see a small country like Ireland, which understands the struggles of the African continent itself, maybe because of the engagement of the missionary and different people who have actually been within Africa. Myself, and how I got up in Ireland, I was baptized by an Irish priest from County Mayo, as a baby.
Yeah.
We didn't have a list from Kenya at the time. Actually, now we have many.
Wow.
And I always tell people that I did get the Holy Ghost spirit, you know, with me to do good, because all I do is actually to do good, even when I ended up here in Ireland. So it's really, really great to be here and to celebrate her story. You are only actually 5 years old. It's a small group with no much fund or much support, but you're doing great things. And we are very, very much happy, AkiDwA, to be connected with you. You know, we are 20 years old this year. So 15 more years we've been there before you, but that doesn't mean that you haven't done great things. You've actually done a lot of good things. And I really, for example, look forward working with you on the whole area of peace and reconciliation, because that's specifically my area of, you know, my area of call, if I want to say it that way. So I don't know, how many minutes do I have, Melanie?
We have about 10 minutes. Yeah. So Salome, would you like to tell us about the work of AkiDwA? For all of our supporters who mightn't necessarily know about the amazing work that you do.
Yes, I just actually wanted, to introduce myself that way, and because you see, myself, I ended up, for example, in Ireland in 1994. So I've been here for the last 27 years. I always tell people that when I first came to Ireland, there was no visa. So I came without a visa. We used to have an alien office, what they called the alien office in Harcourt Street. So all of us, the alien people, used to go there and report that we're in the country, you know, but we didn't have a visa at the time. And so when I related to the freedom of movement, because I wrote on it on Article 60 of human right, on, you know, the right to move, right, of that movement, and how that right has been restricted, not only now because of what we had as, you know, we had a lot of, you know, these restrictions coming on what happened in America back, you know, in the days when we had the destruction of the towers in America, and now into 11. And now, you know, we have the COVID-19. Even if we have a visa, even if we have everything, we are still restricted, you know, by disasters and by things that are happening, like in the outbreak of COVID-19. And so human beings have born as, you know, people to migrate and people to move. You know, we are always moving. And I also actually, you know that, you know, when we argue in Kenya, sometimes we get very proud that the origin of human race started in a place called Odvai Gorge in Kenya. And so we call ourselves the source of human race. You know, we can call ourselves that way. And then, you know, that we moved quite a lot. Even us, you know, Kenyan, we are over 40 million, but we moved quite a lot within the continent itself. And so people have been moving, and people will continue to move. And so we really have to appreciate the gift of movement and that right of movement, and don't take it rightly. And that's why it's important when people end up wherever they end up, they should be embraced. They should not end up experiencing, you know, this kind of discrimination or treatment of an equal because they left their homeland. Some of them, you know, they migrate for the purpose of just wanting to, you know, to see different places and different things. But also some people migrate because they need safety, they need security. We see, for example, what is happening in Syria. We see now what is happening in Palestine, you know, conflict, war, and violence, which continue to still affect so many people. And then we see, like, over the weekend on Sunday, how it ended up in Goma, the eruption of the volcano. These are things that we do not even expect to happen. You know, they just happen, and the eruption have affected families. It has taken away homes of people and so many things. So let's not take life for granted. Let's not take things for granted. Let's try to embrace every moment that we get to embrace the gift of humanity. And that gift of embracing everybody, because all of us are passing. It's like we are in a journey and we are passing. You know, we are not permanent wherever we are. And so I just want to introduce AkiDwA. We are a network of migrant women. We were established in 2001. And it was actually based on this experience of isolation, but other many experiences that we're experiencing at the time, when you don't have families with you, when you're in a country like Ireland, which was only experiencing migration at the time, because a migration has been the key thing of people leaving Ireland. And now we have people coming in. We were also on the booming time economy, booming big time at the time. And I remember actually how we enjoyed that time of economy booming, including my organization got a big office and we got a lot of support, and then that support going down. So our organization have members from migrant women, members from all over the world, from all the continent, if you want to name it that way. We started as an African women's network, and again, it's because Africa is not a country. Africa is a continent with 54 countries in it. And so you can imagine we have different cultures. We have different form of ways of life, belief system, if it's religious systems and beliefs are different. We have different tradition. We have everything which is different. And so we were imagining of having an organization that include other continents that don't have all these other difference. And don't mark me wrong, diversity is good and we should celebrate diversity, but as an organization we were looking at it as a situation where we could actually talk and understand each other and also work on issues that affect us from that specific understanding. And so we've been working on issues of sexual and gender-based violence. We have so many women who have ended up, for example, in Ireland from war-torn countries. These are women who are still trying to recover from trauma. They are women who are struggling to they cannot forget their past because their past has already been damaged. They live with what we call healing the wounds of war, which is actually a research that I undertook in 2016, exploring the situations of women who have come from armed conflict now, living in Ireland. In this research, I also included the Syrian women and women from other different parts of the world. So it's important that people can check on this healing the wounds of war, that some people actually live with these wounds until they die, and it's quite unfortunate. So we should try and embrace this kind of people. So we have so many programs that we are working on this year. We are working on, for example, a program that is funded and supported by PayPal. It's called the Dot Work. And it's mainly because, you see, we continue to experience this kind of discrimination and racism in the country, where, even getting into the market, it's very, very, very difficult. And so we are trying to work in a way that, we can prepare the women to access the labor market and to be able to earn an income and to be able to sustain themselves. So it's quite difficult, even accessing that labor market. We also work on reproductive health. Because, you see, the provision of reproductive health is different, for migrant women. Different countries experiences a different way of receiving reproductive health. And even when they go to maternity hospital, access to epidural are not mainly in many African countries. African women most of the time quite often go through the labor, without having any relief. And so, having to learn about, how they can be supported and what is there in the new country and issues that they should learn about and how to access even that reproductive health is very important. We also work with men because we have understood that, sometimes women have to they have to compromise. They have to actually negotiate with their partners, about the reproductive health that they have to use and about family planning and about so many other things. So we have a parallel project that is actually targeting men and working with men. And so we work on many broad of issues. Immigration is key for us. We try to work with them, policymakers, try to work with the different agencies and organizations. We try to collaborate and work in partnership because we believe there's power in working in partnership, and we can actually achieve quite a lot. In the last 20 years, we have achieved quite a lot, but still there's so much to be achieved. And this can only be achieved by working together. And our key element of thing that we would want to see is everybody being treated with respect and dignity in a country that they call home. And this is what you're working towards, even within the movement program, where Melanie know for sure, they have the diversity program with schools where, you target school and you do the education in school, which we find it to be very, very vital and very important. Linking up with other women groups, like the movement project is actually very, very unique and very key. So it's very important that we continue to work together. And also we have finally a different project, a specific project, which we call Women Together for a Better World. So in this one, we are actually trying to explore the Sustainable Development Goals, in particular goal number 5, where they talk about gender equality, but also other elements of equality that we need to achieve. And so in this, we've been working with women from the Clear Women's Network and Donegal Women's Network. We are hoping to work with more women within the Irish women movement to be able to share the connectedness look actually at our differences, but also our similarities in the journey of fighting for equality and also fighting for justice, but also looking at the intersectionality that continue to remain, because women and we know are not a homogeneous group, that we come from different diversity, we have different needs, and we need to embrace each other to be able to achieve our goals as women. So people can see actually about our work by visiting, if you Google even the word AkiDwA, AkiDwA, it will come actually if you Google, and you can see more of our work. Just again to thank Melanie. Today is not talking about AkiDwA and 20th anniversary and our work as such. It's actually really embracing the work that has been done by movement, not movement, but also Herstory generally, and that role that Melanie has actually played in Ireland. I always tell her, I wish we have at least 3 more Melanie in this country. We would actually be doing wonders, So we are calling everybody to support Herstory and to support actually all of us in making Ireland a better place, and also our world a better place. We are in solidarity with the Palestinian women and people from Palestine and all that is going on. So we need to join hands together and try to support each other, especially during very difficult times. Thank you. Happy Africa Day.
Thank you so much. Happy Africa Day. Thank you so much, Salome. And that's my first time I've seen your doctor credentials on your name before, because I know you've just finished your PhD in Trinity.
Yeah. Yes, I actually finished last year, and I just had to finalize everything this year. So, yeah, I'm a doctor now. Something that I never actually thought of before. So I'm happy, and I want to use what I have learned in my peace and security, and especially that integrating women into peace and security, because that's what we need. If we have women, we do not have this conflict and violence. I'm telling you, we may have a little bit of it, but I'm telling you, it will be much better. And women need to wake up and liberate the world, not liberating Africa, because today's Africa Liberation Day, to liberate the world. The world needs to be liberated, and women have that potential to be able to do so.
I know completely. Yeah, and we share that mission together. Myself and Salome are very much aligned and passionate about the role of women in peace building and conflict resolution. And I'm so inspired by the role of the women in the Northern Ireland peace process. They were absolutely instrumental. It is a key case study at the United Nations. Would you believe it is still not taught in the curriculum in Northern Ireland or the Republic of Ireland? And we're campaigning to make this change so that we can write her story into history and rewrite the school textbooks. It's only right. But when you read the story, it's possible.
I just wanted to say, Melanie, that I wanted to say that, also because I was actually appointed the chair of developing the 3rd National Action Plan on Women, Peace and Security for Ireland, that still Northern Ireland do not have a national action plan. And yet it's a country that has been in conflict. It's very important not to take, the whole issue of peace and security as something which is very far away from us. And the women from Northern Ireland and the population of Northern Ireland should be actually recognized by having its own national action plan to address conflict, that has happened and that still continue to be there. So it would be important to have that. It would be good to support Northern Ireland women.
That's fantastic. That's a great insight. I wasn't aware, actually. It's really important to know that going forward. Thank you, Salome. Thank you so much for your wisdom and all your work and everything that you do at AkiDwA, and for all the migrant women all across Ireland who you've influenced and inspired and empowered over the last 20 years. Thank you from the very bottom of my heart. It's really wonderful to be working with you. It's been an amazing experience in the last year, and I know we're going to be collaborating for many years to come. So thank you so much. And happy Africa Day. Enjoy the celebrations. So next, I'd like to introduce our singer-songwriter, Farah El, who was commissioned back in January to write a very special song as part of the Movement project. She's an Irish-Libyan musician, and we went through a big journey. Hi, Farah El, how are you?
What's up? How you doing?
How are you? You good, yeah?
Yeah, good. Pretty chill.
You're always good. Always beaming, always bright.
I can't help it. It's relentless.
It's infectious, and we need it now more than ever, huh? We definitely do, yeah. So would you like to share some insights about the song that you wrote and why you wrote it?
So the song kind of explores the grief aspect of the journey that, like, even when I was listening to Salome chat and everything, it's a real honor to be sharing the space with women like Salome and Razan and Ifrah and all the work that they're doing. And that's because actually what it's happening there is kind of overcoming the pain and the struggle that is happening underneath. And like, it's actually a very brave thing to use that and transform it into something where we know we need to, you know, take action, as opposed to, or even just solidarity, just all these things that that are not so easily done, but they make it look easy. So that is kind of where this song idea came from. I don't really like to talk about the songs too much because I think it's good to have them open to interpretation. But it is just sort of like allowing people a space to acknowledge actually what they have overcome, without trying to take it away from them or change it either. You know, you know, when people are in pain, I think it's important to let them feel it rather than try to take it away from them. And that's the power is in feeling through it. And yes, coming together. I loved what you were talking about with women coming together. And yes, they can liberate the world. Women are so powerful, and they can change hearts. Which is, you can change a heart, you can change a nation. So so this is Heartbroken Open.
Gorgeous.
Oh yeah, the title as well. And I heard somebody say that before. A friend of mine passed away before, and she used to always say that your heart is broken open. And I just love that, because sometimes when your heart is broken, it really does feel like there's a pain in it. But if you sort of shift that narrative to that it's broken open, it kind of it goes with that saying of that the crack is where the light gets in.
Yeah, I love that quote. Yeah, it's gorgeous.
So yeah, that's my little spiel.
Over to you.
Thank you. Let your heart be broken open. Make peace with the words unspoken. Feel your pain. Know that beauty still remains. Let God be love. Let God be love. Salam, you can hold my hand. Salam, you can hold my hand. كل يوم أنا أجيكم كل يوم أنا أجيكم نكتب هالقصة ونرقد في النهار أنا لا ندوي قلبي ثقيلة وما رقدتش كويس ليلة طويلة قلبي ثقيلة من ليلة طويلة Salam, you can hold my hand. Salam, you can hold my hand. said, "Lena, you can hold my hand." Thanks.
So powerful. And it's my first time hearing you perform it live as well. So gorgeous. And you know, our Palestinian partners were very moved when you sang in Arabic too. And just the power of the words, the lyrics as well are stunning. They really are so timely with what's happening. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much, and happy Africa Day to everybody, and
You
salam
too.
alaikum, lots of love. Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much, Farah.
Maslam.
So last week we created a very beautiful, powerful light show in Belfast and Dublin. And originally our intention was to light up Jerusalem simultaneously, but of course it was too dangerous to do so. So that light show in Jerusalem has been postponed temporarily. It will happen in the next few weeks. But we wanted to send a message of love and solidarity to our sisters in the Middle East, because we know what it's like. We know what conflict is like. We know what civil war is like. We know what colonialism is like. And there are many narratives that we share in Irish history with migrant women from all over the world who joined our shores. We know what famine is like as well, and genocide and mass immigration and racism. These are the Irish stories that are also the global stories. And I suppose Ireland today, it's emerging as this progressive, multicultural society, and we're still getting used to it. We're still birthing into it. It's a process. It's a beautiful journey. But I think it's a great beacon of hope for the potential of humanity to heal and transform our painful histories and to rewrite the future. So we produced this beautiful film. It's shot by Peter Martin. The light show was created by Dodeca, and it stars 3 awe-inspiring activists: Salome from AkiDwA, Razan Ibrahim from Syria, and Ifra Ahmed from Somalia. And our little girl, she's born into a new Ireland, and a new Ireland that knows peace, that knows progress, that knows the potential of humanity. And I want to share this video with you next. We're really proud of this work. It's came from the heart. It was quite a process. A lot of the team lost sleep when we were working through this narrative, because we were creating this for Palestine during the war, the conflict, the violence that was breaking out there. So bear with me now. I'm going to try and see if I can share this screen with you. It's worth the wait, I promise. Here we go. It's called the Parallel Peace Project, because there are many parallels to the stories of conflict and war, colonialism.
Let your heart be broken, open, make peace with the words unspoken. Feel your pain. Know that beauty still remains. Let God be love. Let God be love. Salam, you can hold my hand. Salam, you can hold my hand. كل يوم أنا أجيكم كل يوم أنا أجيكم نكتب هالقصة ونرقد في النهار أنا لا ندوي قلبي ثقيلة وما رقدتش كويس ليلة طويلة ثقيلة من الليلة طويلة. Salam, you can hold my hand. Salam, you can hold my hand. Salam, you can hold my hand. Salam, you can hold my hand.
So in the final frame there, we light up the iconic GPO building in Dublin and pieces written in 4 languages: English, Gaeilge, which is our native language in Ireland, Hebrew and Arabic. So next I would like to introduce our guest speakers from the Jerusalem Centre for Women, and we're joined with Maysoon from Gaza tonight, who's going to share with us the reality of her experiences on the ground there, because we really wanted to spotlight the reality for women and for children of the occupation, but also what's been happening the last few weeks. These are stories that often don't make it into international news. Hi, Maysoon, you're very welcome. Thank you for joining us. Hello, AkiDwA Maria from the Jerusalem Centre for Women. Hi. Good to see you again. Good to see that you're both well and smiling. We've been very worried about you. Very worried. Yeah.
Thank you.
Maysoon.
Oh, we've lost her.
Oh.
I think we've been having technical issues.
لا بنش خلاص.
Hopefully she'll come back online shortly. AkiDwA and Maria, in the meantime, until Maysoon hopefully can repair her. Oh, she's back. Technical issues. We could talk a little bit about the project. Here she is. Hi, Maysoon. Can you hear us okay?
Hi, how are you?
I'm good. How are you, most importantly?
Maysoon, go ahead.
Yeah, now I can hear you. It's lucky.
You hear us?
Oh, we're fine. Thank God we're alive. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes, Maysoon, yes.
Yes. We're fine. Still alive. Thank God for that. This is the only place you say it and you mean it.
And you're still smiling. It's extraordinary. Would you like to just share some insights with us about the reality of what you've been experiencing? And I suppose in particular, the reality for women, because this is often not captured in the international media.
Well, the situation in Gaza is oppressive for everyone, especially for women. Women have been subjected to all sort of violence, physically, mentally, psychologically, in every aspect. Well, the data I'm going to illustrate in the following passage happened only in the last 11 days. In the past 11 days, we have passed through a continuous aggression against civilians inside of Gaza Strip. Most of them are women under attack from the sea, from the land, tanks, and heavy artillery bombardment, and from the power plants that have not seen before. war plans, drones. They targeted dozens of cities, zones, infrastructure, sleeping in their beds. That's why they have over 253 people. Most of them are women, children, and elder people. 39 women and children. Well, they attack people without warning them. Most of them, of course, are women. They attack them without warning, and most of them, and we had a couple of incidents. They were pregnant. Well, they attack people without warning, and around 1,900, nearly 2,000 people were wounded, and more than 50,000 families who are located in the highly bombarded areas east of Gaza Strip fled to 58 UNRWA schools because they didn't have any other safe shelter. You can imagine the social distancing during Corona and the personal hygiene measures followed at that time. People have displaced from homes are still living in the schools till this moment because they have destructed houses. They don't have houses anymore. They are considered homelesses. Since the beginning of the attacks, May 11th, homes have been destroyed, 24 health facilities, primary healthcare facilities that used to be supposed to take care of women who are pregnant, women who have medical issues, all this kind of medical care destroyed. Now women are supposed to either wait or go to too far places out of their homes to get a medical care. 24 health facilities have been suffered partial or complete damage as a result of the continuous Israeli bombardment. They attacked 2 healthcare facilities and directly damaged them completely, not mentioning the other health facilities that have been damaged partially due to damaging its surrounding, targeting its surrounding. As soon as the night falls, everyone, I remember these days again. As soon as the night falls down, everyone in Gaza thinks he's the next target, and you never know is the next rocket is for you or who. One of the heartbreaking stories I came across during the war, Dr. Ayman Abu Auf, he's an internal medical doctor. His death was a shock to all of us in the medical field. He was leading the Gaza Strip in its battle against coronavirus. He was in the biggest medical complex in Gaza, Shifaplex, and he was head of the medical team, in the internal medical team over there, and leading the entire process of dealing with coronavirus. He was killed while he was safe with his family, his wife. She was killed too, and his daughter, she's supposed married next month. She was killed too. The only survival is a 15 years old boy, his son. He woke up in the ICU to be told that his whole family is dead. Israeli forces also in this. I'm talking all about the past 11th days. I'm not talking about the 73 years we have been through with them. Israeli forces also killed 3 members of Salah's family in a bombing in the middle of Gaza Strip. The bombing killed Iyad Salha. He's a handicap. The father, his pregnant wife, and their 2 years old daughter. She was only 2 years old. 2 years old. Another girl came to my attention. I would love to tell you her story. She said after she woke up and found herself the only survivor with her father, she said, "Mommy, you lied to me. You said if we went to heaven, we all are going to heaven together. You lied to me and you left me here alone and you took my siblings with you." Well, these are just a spring of the stories that we have and left through the 11th day war. I can't call it a war because war needs an equal powers. It's attack. Well, that's it. That's it. People in Gaza are still living with fear of reaching the ceasefire any moment now. Everybody is anticipating if we are they going to hit us again? Are they going to bomb us again? What are we going to do if they did? If they did, where is the safe place? There is no safe place. And yes.
We're speechless, Maysoon, and thank you for your honesty and for sharing those stories with us and for speaking your truth and the reality of what you've been witnessing on the ground. It's heartbreaking, and the world is watching. I know there's huge solidarity in Ireland for Palestine and for peace and for justice and equality. I know actually in Ireland, people have been breaking the rules in Gaza as well, the distancing, but we've been breaking the rules in Ireland too, and people have been marching in their thousands in all of the big cities in Ireland in solidarity. I know it's a very small token of of support in comparison to the brutal, cruel reality of what you've had to endure, and I just want to thank you for your bravery and your honesty in sharing with us today, and I just hope that we can continue to be a support in the future. Thank you so much.
Thank you for reaching out and listening to our stories. We appreciate your solidarity with us and your efforts and supporting Palestinian women and all the women in the world. And I would love to be part of your movement. Thank you very much.
We'd be honored to have you. Sure, you already are. You're at this event, Herstory's 5th birthday, so you're already a part of it. And thank you so much. Really, really.
You're welcome.
We really mean it, and there is huge solidarity in Ireland. And in a lot of Europe, actually, as well, there were marches all across the world. I don't know if you saw that, but there's definitely a paradigm shift. There's a change in attitude and understanding about the situation and the history and everything. And we're seeing that. There's definitely a great understanding of the reality of it and how there has to be a solution, because it's mindless, it's crazy, and it's cruel as well. It's been horrendous to watch. Personally in Herstory, we've been losing a lot of sleep and very worried about this. We've been working with wonderful students in the Terra Sancta School in Jerusalem, and Maria and Fadwa now since last year. So it's been an emotional roller coaster. It's been really. We're with you. We're really, our hearts are with you all the way. So here's to the women rising up to create peace and equality and justice together. Because as women, we can do that, and it's really important in these very difficult times to find solidarity with the women together. Because we saw that in Northern Ireland, it took terrible conflict and trauma, especially the loss of children, actually, for there to be a big change. That's when the women rose up together in Northern Ireland. So we're with you all the way. Okay. So Fadwa and Maria, I think we're joined next by
Suhaib.
Speaker.
Hi, Nelly. Hi.
Hello, Maria and Fadwa. How are you? Good to see your smiling faces.
We are supposed to have Suhaib here with us today. She's from Jerusalem, from Sheikh Jarrah village. I'm not sure. I'm trying to contact her on WhatsApp, but she's not replying. I'm not sure if what's happening. But if she's not with us, then Fadwa will talk about peace and the efforts of Palestinian and Israeli women for building peace.
Yeah, Milani, the most important thing now in Jerusalem, what is happening, I think we as a Palestinian, we are in the hardest time and dangerous one. What happened in Gaza, it's a disaster for us. Yes, if you send someone, if you go through the tubes, if you go to the websites, you can find a lot of people still under the rubbish. Okay, because they collapsed a big towers in Gaza without any alarming. That just they call them before 10 minutes and then they bomb it. So there is, I think, a lot of people still under the destruction. And the dilemma or the sadness thing, a lot of families, all the family died. Still one person from. The problem with the women, the women after that, now they are in the coma, or they are like ضايعين. They are lost. The women lost.
It's just like they can't understand what has happened.
Yes,
it's like a shock for them.
Yes, and now they are looking for the women and the women organization. What is how they will help the people. Hi Suhad. Suhad, she's with us. Okay. Okay, Suhad.
Marhaba.
Marhaba.
Hello.
Thank you for joining us.
Suhad, the floor for you.
The floor is yours. Please
Okay,
share
thank you.
anything you want to share, any stories that you feel that we need to hear.
First of all, let me appreciate that you asked me to be with you today to speak about what's happening in Sheikh Jarrah. Actually, I will just give you some information about the case of Sheikh Jarrah and what the people every day is facing over there. Well, my name is Suhad Abdul Latif. I'm living in Sheikh Jarrah in a house. It used to be to my grandfather and then to my father, and now it's for me and my brothers. And all of our children used to come to the family house and to play over there. Unfortunately, when we go to the house, we go without safety. All the time we are thinking about our children. If they left the house and go out to the street, what may happen to them? Because we are living in a neighborhood. The Israeli government steals some of the houses and gave it to settlers. Those settlers keep all the time, attacking us. And several times they said that we will kidnap your children and we will burn them and you will lose them if you will not leave this neighborhood. This is for us and you have to leave. We will kill you. We will destroy your houses. We will burn your cars. All of that we are receiving from the settlers and the Israeli soldiers who are there. This is the situation how the families in Sheikh Jarrah live. But because we are believing that this is our homes and this is our land, we had no choice actually. We had no choice. We have to struggle and to stay and to keep saying that we are strong enough to stay there because this is our right. And we can't just, leave our houses because we are afraid. Because, and actually, I just want to highlight an issue. Sheikh Jarrah, it's not a case that two sides is saying this is our land, this is our homes. It's not this case, actually. Sheikh Jarrah is, it's a picture of the whole Palestinian case because it is bringing back all the photos that we used to see it before. Colonialism. They are apartheid. Again, we have it 1948, we have it 1967, and now again they are trying to do the same thing with us. Do you know there is a 28 houses over there? 28 houses, more than 500 Palestinians are living there. Can you imagine where they will go? Would you imagine that now within this century we're still talking about apartheid. This is something against all the international law that worked for several years to protect the human rights. You know, the humanity, they put a very big and very strong effort to protect the human rights, you know? And now we don't talk about the human rights anymore. We are talking about development, actually. And what about Palestine? What about what's happening there? And why they doing this? Why they are keeping attacking us? Why they are keeping remind us that we are the power here and you will leave this land. This is our land. This is what we hear it from them, you know? We hear it all the time. Die to Arab. They even didn't admit that we are Palestinian. They don't call us Palestinian. They said all the time, death for Arab. Death for Arab. Arab will leave. But we are Palestinian. We used to be in this land. We have our rights. And we are struggling to have our independent state. Jerusalem, under the international law, East Jerusalem, it's occupied. So we have to be under the protection of the international law. We are not losing our home. We are losing our dreams. We are losing our lives. We are losing our memories, our histories, our right to be there. Shame on the world. Shame on the world. We struggled for many years for freedom as Palestinian and as women, respect human rights and women rights. But no one is respecting now the Palestinian right. They are closing all the entrance of Al-Shajara. They are avoiding us to enter our neighborhood, to be in our home with our family. And at the same time, the settlers, the ones who are having their weapons all the time, they are entering and going and walking in the street with free. Our youth, they are in the street all the time, struggling and you know, saying that we are not leaving Shajara. What they got over there? They been under arrest, under attack. Heavy weapons is all the time to their faces. This is not fair. This is not fair. I really don't know. I have a question for the ones who's still supporting Israel for what it's doing with us, you know? Why you are doing this? Why you are doing this? Sorry, I have a problem. Oh, let me fix it. Okay, why you are doing this? If you are really supporting Israel, okay. We have no problem. Give them your land. Give them your home. Give them your dream. Give them your children to be killed one day. Give them your lives. You are supporting them? Don't support them. Because we are here. I hope that all the world can have the chance to be here in Palestine, to see the reality, to see the real story. Do you know what? I have 4 children. I don't know how to dream about their future. Really, I don't. You know, I don't know if you saw the video. I don't know if Fadwa sent it to you or not.
I saw the video.
Yeah.
You're a very brilliant, powerful speaker. You really speak your truth. So it's really, you're doing such a strength for the women, the Palestinian women. You speak, and I think it's a great gift of social media now, is we don't need the journalists and we don't need the traditional ways of communicating that, you know, a video can go viral, and that's what we're seeing. So the world, and what we're seeing, especially in the West, is there's definitely a change in the perception of what's happening, and a change in the understanding. And this is happening, seems to be happening all across the West. For the first time, really a big shift in attitudes, and a real caring, because with the COVID, with the pandemic, people can't ignore it. You know, before I grew up hearing about Gaza. I remember all those words, you know, the Palestinian words. I remember even as a teenager hearing about this, but now there's a deeper understanding because we can't avoid it. And so that's why there was in Ireland, we broke all the COVID rules. We didn't do any social distancing. People marched in their thousands in 3 of the cities. And you saw this all across Europe, these movements, and this, and then also, yes. I've been also listening to, I've got a friend who has many Israeli friends, and she said that for the first time, they're really seeing through the propaganda of Zionism and of the occupation, and seeing through to the inhumanity of it.
Yeah.
They're deconstructing the ideology, and there's a shift in perception. And these Israeli women are tormented. They're very disturbed by the reality of how the Palestinian people are being treated. And I think it's very important to actually voice that too, that there is a shift in perception. This is happening in Ireland and also internationally. I know an Israeli woman in Ireland who said she couldn't be part of the project anymore because she's so upset. She's so pro-Palestinian. She can't even use the word peace. She can't, she was just absolutely heartbroken. So I think from this, it's a really, and we've seen this happen in Northern Ireland. We know it, we had 800 years of colonialism in Ireland. So we went through hell and famine and genocide and everything. So we know this story. And the key, I think, in trying to heal through this trauma is how women can come together, because that was the turning point in Northern Ireland. It was when the children, there was a very tragic case of 3 children in one family that died, and 2 women said, that's it, we've had enough. And they formed a people's movement. This is Mairead Corrigan and Betty Williams, and they went on to become the Nobel Peace Prize winners. But it was when it got so bad, the women said, no, no more. And they rose up together, and they were absolutely instrumental, and they got at the negotiating table. But it's really important that the women, as agents for change and transformation, that you rise up, that we want to hear the Palestinian voice and the voice of the women, that you feel really empowered, and that we hear you. We have to hear you. We have to hear your voices, you know, to rise up together, because that's the women did in Northern Ireland, and they won peace. It's an amazing story of how the women, we can share it with you. It's just such a beautiful story of what is possible when you rise up together as women. So we're heartbroken. I mean, and Suhad, you're such an incredible speaker, and thank you for just the real raw honesty of your experience and the reality, because we need to hear it. It's really important. It's so important that you're heard and witnessed, and that we can continue to work together. And we are, with the Jerusalem Centre for Women, we're planning a very powerful light show that we've had to postpone, and we've been doing solidarity light shows in Belfast and Dublin in support too, because it's the women that will heal us, you know, will help to heal the world. Because it doesn't have to be this way. This conflict is and the origins of it are so regressive, and they're so against our humanity. You know, if you've got Israeli soldiers who are leaving the military because they're so disturbed. Fadwa and Maria told me they have psychological disturbances. They're so disturbed from their experiences in the military. You've got Israeli women who are so also disturbed by, they can see through the propaganda. And you've got the Palestinians who are being, you have this oppression and this loop of, you know, the Jewish people who are so oppressed from the Holocaust, who are then oppressing the Palestinians. And this is a cycle. It just never stops until somebody says, we have to find a new way. We have to find a new way, because we want peace. Feels so good. Like, we know what it's like in Ireland. Like, it feels so good after 800 years of hell. It feels so good. It's worth it. It really is worth it, you know. It's so
absolutely
healing. Yeah.
You're right.
You.
Yeah, you're, and as you said, you need to hear us, and we need you to hear us.
Yeah, it's really important.
And this is could be a good chance, actually. You know, we can use the social media to you know, to show the pictures about what's happening on reality, and to bring to us all the solidarity that they are, supporting the rights of Palestinians to live in peace, and all the other parties. If we live in peace, we will wish the peace for everyone. But if we don't have peace, no one can have peace. This is the principle of us.
I know.
So we need women in the world, all the females, youth females, to support to support us as Palestinian women and a Palestinian family to have our rights to live in the same condition that any other family or any other woman in the world can live. This is very good idea, and we are now working on, we are about having our global campaign for Sheikh Jarrah, and it will be a good idea if we can have as much as women to be part of this campaign. It will be good, and we will be so pleased to have them all.
Amazing. Thank you so much. And for being so brave and honest. I have huge respect, You're a very powerful, very brilliant woman, and a great role model, for your children. And believe and trust in. I think there's a change this time. There's a shift in perceptions globally. And there's a lot of pressure on the US and Israel to be human again, to be humane, to find their humanity, because what happened is we've lost our humanity, and the world watched and the world was heartbroken. And there's a change, and it's terrible to think that it has to get so bad for it to get better. But this is sadly often what happens, that it has to get so bad for us to wake up. But then in the work as the women, then really we have to rise up together. That's very important, because it'll influence on the statistics. The United Nations women, they've analyzed the peace process around the world, and if women are involved, it greatly influences the long-term effects of the peace process, how effective it is and how successful it is. So we need the women to rise up together, and that's why we're all here today. Very important.
And I think I think Sheikh Jarrah case, it's a very good chance to work on it, because all the world is knowing that there is civilians living over there. They are, under attack by settlers who having weapons, and Israel is about, have its plan to do the apartheid again. And I think no one in the world right now is accepting the idea of doing any apartheid process in any part of the world. So we think that this is our strength in Sheikh Jarrah, and we will work on that. And I'm sure that this time it will change.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you so much. Thank you, Sahid. Okay.
Okay, Melanie. I think this is the hard cases. We chose it from Gaza and from Jerusalem.
Yeah.
There is a lot of things we can collect it in the future, because now this is the fresh in Gaza. The people, they wake up about what we are doing now with the Israeli women. We are planning to do a joint statement about how to achieve peace between two, and how to push the leaders to go to the negotiation and political operations. Hopefully, the radical people to agree for what we'll do in the future. Yes, everything now not clear for us, unknown, but hopefully on the coming 2 weeks or to see what will happen. But we as Jerusalem Center and Itach Maki, we are planning to do a joint statement how to achieve peace between us.
Wow, that's fantastic to hear that, Fadwa. It's great to hear that update live on the ground, and just huge respect for what you're doing, the work you're doing on the ground. And Maria earlier, she shared the video with me, the 325 meal. Would you like me to share it with everybody now? I think it's really...
Yes, share it if you want, share it, because this is important. And this is, we start working with this for peace building since, I think, after Oslo Agreement, we did implement all the joint projects with them. But the situation difficult, and I think the discourse in the Israeli side has to change, be changed. Yes. Because I think we are the weakness party. we are under occupation, and they are the occupier, and they are the strong people there. Yeah.
And we know the story. We know what that feels like in Ireland too. So
Yes,
solidarity.
exactly.
And I think so. I mean, really, it's very important like that to share the stories and the insights about of what's not getting shared in the international media. And I was, I suppose, really renewed. My hope was renewed when I heard about the women in their thousands who have been rising up together, the Israeli and Palestinian women together, in many organizations, in particular Women Who Wage Peace. There's 50,000 members. They've had marches of thousands of women. The photographs are extraordinary. This has been happening now for the last 7 years in response to the last war.
In 2016, I was the organizer from Palestinian side.
I'm not surprised.
Yes.
But it gives me huge hope. And do you know what I have a special treat for you. I haven't shown this to you before, but I was just doing some research on I suppose the history of Northern Ireland, the peace process, the role of the women, and then also the Palestinian and Israeli women rising up together. And I found a series of photographs. This will warm your heart. Wait till you see this. It's like parallel stories. It's amazing. We have so much in common. So much to learn from each other. This is just beautiful. So on the left-hand side, we have historical images from the Northern Irish peace process, the women rising up together. On the right-hand side, we have the women, which pays.
This is the march.
Wow.
Parallel
this
stories.
Is in Jericho. El Maghtas. This is near the religious places close to Jordan Valley. It was.
So on the left, we have the Women's Coalition, who were key negotiators at the Good Friday Agreement. The founders there, Monica McWilliams and Brona Hines. Brona Hines, of course, is involved in our project, the Parallel Peace Project. On the right, we have Israeli and Palestinian women together. But look how parallel the stories are. Look at the women rising up. This is the Dairy 5 women in Derby in March on the left-hand side. And we have the women in the Middle East. This is Pearl Sagar and Monica Williams, the two founders of the coalition on the left, and then we've got Israeli and Palestinian at the right. But I wanted to show these pictures to you, and this is a really beautiful video that you can watch online as well about the unity on both sides coming together, all the women wearing white, the mother's call. It's stunningly powerful. And the next thing now is where I'm looking forward to the day that when you achieve peace, and that there's a documentary film made about the story, because this is this legendary documentary story about the role of the peace heroines of Northern Ireland. So I just want to share that with you in solidarity, because it just shows you what's possible. Isn't it beautiful to see the pictures together? You go,
it is.
It's really powerful, the parallel stories, Maybe we can light them up. We do the light show in Jerusalem. We could light up those pictures together, because our histories are very similar. There's a lot of similarity. Had academics explain it to me, actually. So I'd like that. Will I show the video of the 325 appeal? I think it's really, really heartwarming to hear it.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Hopefully now we have the internet working okay.
And since the UN has come up with the resolution 1325 to actually prevent conflict and to allow women to participate fully in any decision making, in any political process, that's why I'm here, because I support this cause. And specifically on 1325, we know that the Palestinian Authority has already established an action plan, and now it's the time to make it actually effective and to start implementing it. That said, that means that women need to fully participate in any negotiation process. Women need to be protected in times of the conflict, especially now. They need recovery and relief, and those people who are persecutors need to be taken to justice. Both leaders
you need to choose strategically to end this conflict. That's a pragmatic.
Sorry now, apparently the screen isn't working. Screen share. Let's see now if it's working.
Way that we look at it. And of course, women, we are 51% of the population. We are in the 21st century. We need to be sitting in the negotiation table.
The moment the President Abbas, even in his last speech at the United Nations Security Council, said that he has always been ready to meet with Netanyahu and start or resume tangible negotiations. We are still waiting for Netanyahu's phone call.
I believe in myself that I'm a good believer in the human issues, and I don't believe that killing is the solution.
We built a wall, a symbolic wall. We painted on it, and in the end, we broke it together. Palestinian and women, we just broke it and danced over it. And then we had a march together in silence to the next checkpoint.
Today we are here in 1325 to have our voice to the two government that it's too much this conflict what happened in the ground. It's enough and we need peace.
We are responsible for the future of our children.
Jerusalem to me is the birthplace, but it's also the grandmother, the young city that rises above everything and still calls hope in. So Jerusalem is us. Okay? القدس إحنا. القدس إحنا. Jerusalem is us. Jerusalem is women.
Keep going and keep going and keep going. And I think I just want to say, because there's something about 1325 which is about having more women involved in decision-making centers and everything.
لغتنا لغة التسامح المحبة والمحبة بلا قيود.
And so we are very glad and happy to be part of this project. And I promise we will bring Russian-speaking women here.
Fighting this struggle or that struggle. It's about changing the paradigm that allows for asymmetric power relations.
And how to proceed, all of us with each other as partners on this circle. And to women to be more and more and to widen the circle.
Thank you so much for standing together with us. Thank you for reaching out to women all over the world. Thank you for reaching out to women in Israel and Palestine in particular, because they are going to bring the change that everyone hopes for. Thank you for you being a woman standing for another woman, standing for the future of the world, standing for the globe in general, standing even for our men partners who are lost in this chaotic world. Thank you for bringing back hope and peace to this place.
Thank you, Fadwa. And Maria, that was a very powerful video. Gives you hope, doesn't it? When the women rise up together, there's no stopping us. No stopping us. It's so heartwarming. Yes. And now it's really important that we empower your voices as women, you know. in Palestine, in Israel, but also all around the world. It's really important that we hear your voices. And I think it's actually a blessing that the Jerusalem light show hasn't happened yet, because I think when we do it, it will make a big impact. And we will hear the voices of the women rising up together, and it will change the story. It'll change the perceptions around the world, because you will do it. You'll achieve it. I know, I can feel it. It's coming.
We hope so.
Thank you so much. And we're so relieved to hear that you're safe and well, and still smiling against all the odds.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Wonderful. So it's been a really powerful day so far. Bear with us. I know we're running a little bit behind schedule, but I hope that you're all feeling renewed and restored by hearing those stories and hearing the stories of the women rising up, and that video as well that captures the realities that are never focused on in the international media because it doesn't suit the agenda. But we're going to change that. So next, I'd like to welcome our poet, Christina, who I haven't met yet before because of COVID, but she's written a really powerful poem, especially for the project. Hello, how are you?
Very well, thank you. And yourself?
It's so good to see you. Because of COVID, we haven't got to meet. It's just terrible, isn't it?
True.
Yeah, but I'm totally awestruck by your poem. It's very, very powerful. So over to you, whenever you're ready. The stage is yours.
Yeah. My name is Christina Alvaro, and the title of my poem is Together as One. It was written in light of the wars in the world now, the distress and lack of unity, really. And it goes like this. A silent stream cut through the calm. A doctor's dream snatched away from her world. Grinning soldiers with bloody machetes stood witnessing her soul drain away. Politicians smiling, clicking champagne, a wonderful speech one has made. A hard choice had to be made, they tell themselves. We have to protect our economy, borders, freedom, race, religion, way of life. The enemy's blood rolls down the pavement. A naked child not yet outside, suckling, collateral damage she is called, or maybe pre-planned murder, I would say. My home weeping tears, my memories burning in ashes. I brace towards the sunset, my east on fire. My home, did I stretch out my hands or did you pull it? Maybe I drown, but here I am. What did you see, a rose or a thorn, a choice individually made? Down the lonely street I walk, a smile here, a cloud there. I lost my name, I can't find it no more. I was given a new name like my father of old. Now I am black, illegal, or poor asylum seeker, sometimes terrorist. Who am I? Behind my eyes, I see a man touring, smiling, in colorful shirts. This is not his home. He came like me, but he still has his name, Mr. Crane. I browse, I see an article mentioning my given name. I smile, maybe a change, then I read the comment section. Mommy, my son called. Snap, the laptops go shut. Hiding my shame in a smile, he can't see this. He shouldn't read that. Why, sometimes I ask. Staring at the new me in my loneliness. I guess for the same reason we love our dogs yet castrate them. Frown at the lamb being slaughtered yet relish in dining on one. We hide behind a curtain of necessity to excuse a reason for evil. See, hear, or do no evil, they say, how almost true. If there's no evil, stand against evil, I think is more in line. I look up to you in my puppy smile, choked by the leash of being looted in the society. I see the road you cross when I walk by, the change from a friendly attitude to a professional one you put when it's my turn in the queue, the silent wish your countenance give that I don't sit by you in the bus when I come by. I see you, I see through you, for I am you, I was you. The name was in my country too. I partook in the tribalism, classism, sexism, homophobia, bigotry, and all. I did not stand against the evil. I gave a reason like you. Here I am. I am here. I cannot tell you beware, for you could be me tomorrow, but I can tell you stop, be who you were supposed to be. Civilized beings must not experience something to learn from it. This is why we can read. Lead the world in humanity like you lead in economy. Be more human and tell us what it means to be one, for like it or not, mankind looks to you. A troll and a bully always have a good reason for what they do. Christiana is my name. Christy, my friends call me. Give me back my name. Give me a chance, and you would find me no different from your sister, daughter, or wife. For thousands of years we were kin. Don't let the artificial scarcity of resources caused by a greedy few allow you to see me any different. Even if you think me dumb because I don't speak your tongue, or because my father did not leave me fancy buildings, farms, and streets, does that mean I should be less human in your eyes? A baby can't speak and knows nothing, yet you love them as equal humans as you. Through my window, though, I see Miss Breen, her daughter Mary is in America. Because of love she left, for man or country I know not, but Miss Breen smiles at me. She understands, for Mary writes. She knows the struggle, she knows the thrill. Mary is now successful in America. Through it all, she came on top. Doesn't make a difference why she leave. Could be war, could be love, poverty, adventure. What I know is humans move. The day we stop, the day we turn to trees. Thank you very much.
That is such a stunning poem. And it's wonderful to hear you speak the poem in person. It's all the more powerful as well. You're such a gifted wordsmith. Really, really wonderful. Thank you so much for being a part of the project.
Thank you.
I hope
Thanks
you
for
enjoyed
having me.
Oh, God, it's our honor. It's our pleasure. Absolute pleasure.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Okay, so next I'd like to introduce Caitlin, who's going to be in conversation with Sister Lena. And I know they've formed a very special relationship over the course of the project. They have a really lovely bond. Two wonderful women.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Mel. So yes, today we had hoped to speak with Razan and Lena together because their stories were matched as part of the movement project because they share a lot of similarities. But unfortunately, Razan is caught up with work today, so she was unable to make it. So I'll be kind of going through Razan's story and talking to Lena with the similarities through the both of them. So thank you so much, Lena, for being with us today. You're very welcome.
Thank you.
So I'll just briefly give a kind of introduction to both of their stories. And all these stories are available to view on our website as well under the movement tag at the top of the page. So Razan was born and raised in Syria, and she emigrated to Ireland in 2011 for further education. But she actually ended up becoming a refugee when war broke out in Syria, and she was unable to return home. She works as a journalist who identifies misleading information and debunks fake news, and she speaks out a lot on women's issues and the refugee crisis as well. Then Sister Lena Devi was born and raised in Ireland, and it was to train as a nurse that she left for Wales in 1960. She then emigrated to America, where she became the director of the Irish Immigrant Centre in Boston. So under Lena's leadership, the centre has developed into a place inclusive of all immigrants from all walks of life. She returned to Ireland in 2014, where she has continued to talk out about various different topics that we'll get to towards the end. So just about Roseanne's kind of emigration to Ireland. She, as I said, came here for further education. She wanted to go to the best school in English language training and teaching, so she came to Limerick. She talks about, in her story, she talks about how similar Ireland and Syria are, how land and owning a house are very important in Syrian culture, just like here, how the family bond is another similarity, and our love of culture, music and art as well, very similar between both countries. She does say, however, that Syria is actually more diverse, that you could go from neighborhood to neighborhood, it can be very different in its culture, and this is down, she thinks, to language and religions and migration and things like that. Overall, though, she says that her experience of emigration has been quite positive, and that she has made a lot of friends, met amazing people, and overall, it's been a good experience. So, Lena, I just wanted to touch briefly on what was your immigration story like to Wales and then to America as well.
Yes, in 1916, I left to follow my mother's career in nursing. My mother was a nurse. And it was my first time away from Ireland. And as a shy, insecure young countrywoman, I was anxious about how I would adjust to life in North Wales and to the hospital setting. And an experience I had that has marked me since, I recall one of the nurses who was English making fun of my accent and asking me to pronounce my THs, which made me extremely self-conscious of speaking in public, a legacy I still live with today and live with here. So it was also the first time that I became aware of differences in culture, and recall how I was aware of some racist comments that were being passed about a student nurse from Jamaica. So when I finished my nursing training, I returned to Ireland, and I entered a religious order, the Little Sisters of the Assumption, whose mission was to work with and empower the poorest families through home care services and community programs. I felt that God was calling me to dedicate my life to the mission of the LSAs. By the 1970s, I was working in a recently developed high-rise housing project in Ballymun on the north side of Dublin, and shared a flat with 3 other sisters. It was a great opportunity to be part of building a new community, a community which was really of it was internal displacement within Ireland, if you like, because you had a lot of young families who had no homes and were displaced. There had been a housing crisis in the inner city. Some of the buildings had fallen. So the people came out, and they came out to Ballymun, which was the name of the area, and there was no services. So together, we worked together at advocating for services. There wasn't even buses going to the place. And these were families who were so used to being in their extended families. Now they were isolated. And it was the first very high-rise flats in Ireland. And some of them, you had to have 3 children to get into the flat. You could have been on the 15th floor, and there was no place for childcare. So it was all of that, but we worked together over the years, and it was one of the things that I suppose I feel it was where I got a true education, and I became so aware of the greatness of people and the courage they had. Like they had suffered so much, and still they enjoyed life, and still they made the most of it, and they kept going. So it was I will always remember my time in Ballymun, because it was the place where my heart was, and I suppose I'm back there now and still is. So after almost, that's my piece.
And about America, then you went on to America?
Yeah, well, then in 1987, my order offered me a sabbatical in Boston. And it was an opportunity for me to have a good rest, a time of relaxation and reflection. And with the encouragement of a friend, I'm lost here.
Can you see us?
I can't see you, no. Here, I'll go back again. Here. No. I'm nervous of all of this. Oh, yeah. So I think I'm coming back.
Yep. We can see you now.
Can you see me? Yeah. Yep. When I applied and I was accepted into the Harvard School of Education, even though I had no bachelor's degree. They accepted me because of my innovative work in Ballymun. It was tough to adjust, and I had to learn how to type, to speed read, and how you behaved in a prestigious university, because I'd never been in a university before. So, and for one class, I embarked on a research project into the experiences of undocumented Irish immigrants. The late 80s was a time of massive emigration from Ireland, and thousands of young Irish found themselves undocumented in Boston. Though living on the edge of great possibilities, they lived an underground existence with fears of deportation, illness, no work, or exploitation of work, unplanned pregnancies, fear of travel, etc. So as part of my research, I interviewed the founding members of a fledgling Irish immigration centre and was recruited to the team. In 1990, the year I was due to return to Ireland, I was invited to become the IIC's first director. It was an exciting time. There was hope on the horizon with news of new immigration bill, which the undocumented could apply for through a lottery programme. Those early days were exciting. And while our financial resources were small, we had an amazing team of young Irish volunteers. We embraced all expressions of Irishness, gay or straight, Protestant or Catholic, Unionist or Nationalist. It didn't matter. We didn't ask questions. Our approach gradually attracted immigrants from other backgrounds as we developed immigration legal clinics in different neighbourhoods and other services to meet the needs of immigrants, especially the undocumented. Through my involvement in Haiti Justice Group, I knew that while life was tough for the Irish undocumented, there was no comparison to the way Haitians were treated by the system. The darker your skin, the more likely you were to be questioned by immigration officials and deported. At the IIC, we developed anti-racism programs for our staff and volunteers. And we began to try and understand white privilege and how we benefited from white privilege, even though on a day-to-day level, we didn't always feel that. But we were very aware as we studied it that we were more privileged and that we benefited from this. So we wanted to try and address the issues of racism because they had a saying in Boston, driving while black, you're more likely to be stopped. If I, as a white person, if I was undocumented, was driving, nobody would be likely to stop me. Integration was a tough issue to negotiate, but our strong young Irish volunteers worked really hard. Sorry, yeah. Our efforts to bring groups together elicited praise from some Irish, but derision from others, who questioned us helping these other people when there were many Irish needing our help. But we believe it was not either or, it's both and, recognizing we're all equal on this journey and much richer through our differences. We listened to the fears and resistances among some Irish, and we decided that we needed to keep listening and keep trying to understand. And for some, there was a big legacy of what people knew of the busing that was in Boston, where African Americans were moved from one area to the other, and so it was a big legacy. So we listened to those, and we developed integrated programs like the Black and the Green in Boston, cultural coffees, and anything that would bring people together. We did that. So it was a challenging time. It was a good time, and gradually we began to understand that we were much richer together, and we now have an organization that's fully, well, it's integrated. It has an integrated staff and an integrated board. And we work with people from all backgrounds. So in 2013, I retired, and then I returned to Ireland. So on one evening after I was back, when I was back, I saw an image of a 3-year-old boy on the television, Alan Cordy, washed up on the beach. And it upset me so much and wondered what I could do. So after reflecting and talking to return volunteers, and myself and Mary Malone went to KIOS, that was a KIOS Eastern Shore Response Team, and a volunteer group started by a local Greek woman, Tula. And we met the boats when they were arriving and saw people arriving, and it was just so heartrending to see people coming off the boats, and they were wet, and the children were often sick, and it was, I will never forget that first experience there. To think that people had to leave their homeland and then come away and not feel loved or accepted, and in fact seen as a threat. So since then, I have been out there too, volunteering twice out in KIOS, and it's always been a very, it's good to be able to go, but it's a painful experience seeing the way refugees are treated when they're looking just for a new life for themselves. They're looking to be accepted, and that's. I just find that very difficult, and seeing the cruelty. And since I came back, I started then doing a little fundraising, because I had fundraising experience, to help raise money for the programs that CERT was running. I've also, the situation now has been much more difficult because of COVID. And so a lot of some of the volunteers had developed a distance education program, so that to try and keep hope alive for the refugees and for the families is so that they could learn languages and begin to keep hope a bit alive. But it's been very tough. And some of my friends here in Ireland, Frank and Eileen, who are long-term volunteers, they set up a fund here in Ireland, Road to Hope. And I do some fundraising on GoFund to help to try and keep hope alive at this dark time. But it's really difficult. Yeah. I also, on my return, I was asked to coordinate our order, the Little Sisters of the Assumption, our Justice, Peace and Integrity of Creation program. And in that role, I've come to understand the link between climate change and the work and climate refugees, the displacements of people through the destruction of the climate. I also support and work with Ireland Says Welcome in advocating for the rights of individuals and families in the direct provision centres here, which is really not acceptable. And I support Migrant Rights Centre for Justice for the Undocumented, especially children, babies who are born to women who are undocumented and they're not allowed Irish citizenship. And I'm particularly, I suppose, inspired in my work here by the work of so many great immigrant-led organizations like AkiDwA. And as an older person, my role in some ways is to share the wisdom of my years, because I've been around a good few years. So I like to support groups wherever I can, and raise my money for KIOS, and when possible to be volunteering, because I suppose I kind of feel I have been blessed in life, and I've been blessed with having developed great friendships, been privileged to be able to be at the starting point and to help people believe in themselves, because that's what life is about. It's helping us to help one another to believe in ourselves. And I also think, I just saw this little reflection someplace that I thought I'd read to end off. Lifting others, we ourselves are lifted. Happiness, the sense of a life well lived, is born in the blessings we bestow on others. Bringing to someone else's life brings meaning to our own. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Lena. We were on the phone last night and we were discussing again how similar her and Roseanne's story are. And I didn't want to go through too much of Roseanne's story because she's done such a wonderful job writing it up herself, which is available again on the website. But the similarities, again, from emigrating for further education, and then both of them have worked with the refugee crisis in Greece as well. Roseanne speaks in her story about going down at 2 a.m. to the beaches with binoculars just to spot boats coming in, to run to the people with food, with water, with anything that they can give to help these people coming in. And again, with integration is another topic that Roseanne talks a lot about. And, you know, she says how integration isn't one-sided, it's mutual understanding and communication between the host and society and the newcomers as well. So both Roseanne and Lena's stories are available to read on the website, and they're really, really powerful stories. So I would encourage everybody to check that out. And thank you again, Lena, for talking. You did a wonderful job. I know myself how difficult it is, but you've done a great job.
I still feel back there from my early days in Wales.
Yeah, but you're overcoming it. You're doing well.
Yeah.
So thank you very much.
Yeah.
For
Thank
coming
you
today.
for having me.
No problem. We'll talk soon.
Yeah, good. Thank you.
Bye-bye. Okay, Mel, I'll take you back on. We have just a few more things to do.
I'm so moved. That was beautiful. I mean, I was biting back tears, you know. She, like, Sister Lena, like, you're the real deal. You're the real Christian spirit, like, just stunning. And the similarities, like, between Roseanne and Lena's story are, I'm looking forward to getting them together in a room to meet for the first time, to share their stories, because that's the, you know, we'd be having a big event together today, you know. And to get to meet all together, because it's just very, very moving, and your bond, you can see it, the two of you, and you'd never think the two of you are shy public speakers, especially you, Caitlin Hannah. I saw you now. This time last year now, Caitlin Hannah was speaking in front of 1,000 teenage girls and she blew them away. She was amazing. So you won't know yourself. I remember my first ever talk with Herstory and my legs were trembling. I thought they were going to take off the stage. So you'll be flying now. No better woman. Thank you so much. So last but definitely not least, we have a very special guest who's a very dear friend of mine. She's a Herstory godmother and very gifted singer-songwriter. She's just released her debut album, Into the Sea. Susan Quirk, the beaming light that you are. Gorgeous to see you.
Hi, Melanie. So lovely to see you too.
Yeah. How are you?
I'm good. Just blown away by the last 2 hours of speakers and, you know, women from all over the world come from a place of such deep love and compassion and respect and dignity. So just gorgeous to bear witness to your work, Caitlin's work, Melanie. So thanks for creating this space, and happy birthday, Herstory.
Thank you, and thank you for all your support and your extraordinary wisdom over the years. You've been instrumental in the scenes, and it's really special to have you with us on your birthday, because I've been trying to pin you down for Herstory event for quite a while now. You're always too busy, so it's very special to have you here. And we're going to share your home song video. Would you like to tell us a little bit about it and the inspiration behind it?
Sure. So Home was written, I was spending a little bit of time in California, and I was in Berkeley University and watched a documentary about very young children traveling up through South America to get through the border into Central America and up to North America, just to make a better life for themselves. And as Salome said earlier, you know, movement is a natural part of our humanity. People and humans have always moved. and yearned to make a better life for themselves. And around the same time, images were coming out of Syria, Lesbos, Calais, of people dying, crossing oceans, trying to make a better life for themselves. And, you know, like Sister Lena said, it really affected me. I saw the same images that were transmitted throughout the world. And I wrote the song in response to it. Fundamentally, you know, we are one humanity, as you say, Melanie, in all your beautiful communications. We're one race. We all come from love, and to rise in consciousness together, to see each other's humanity, to transcend borders that are fabricated, like you said at the beginning. All of these things are man-made and create separation consciousness, and fundamentally we are one. And so this is a song to sing to that.
Beautiful. Okay, here we go.
That you've come from a land that you love, and you've come so far. It's such a shame. It's not your fault. It's our please keep the faith, because there are thousands and thousands and thousands who welcome you home. Teach us your ways. Know that peace will come, for the wisdom of people will make it better. It will be the way. Just keep the faith, because there are thousands and thousands and thousands who welcome you home. You are home. You are home. You are home. You are home. We 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 are home. are home.
Wow. It's exquisite, Susan. Every time it gets me, the wisdom just drops deeper and deeper, you know. It's a profound piece of work, you know. Thank you. Thank you for all that you do and the extraordinary light that you are, you know.
We're all in it together, and that's something that could really, you know, bear witness to all the women that spoke. We're all from different lands and have different struggles, but the feminine is rising, and love and compassion are rising, and you know, so much of the struggle in the world and war is coming from a place of its deeply wounded masculine pain. And it is, you know, it's incumbent upon us to stand up and to rise together, to support each other and to bear witness to each other's stories. It was so powerful hearing all of the stories, you know. So, you know, thank you for creating this platform, Melanie. All of the people that you're connected with have such dignity and integrity. So wonderful to hear Dr. Salome speak, and AkiDwA that you're partnering with for this. And it's very powerful what you're doing. So it's an honor to be a little part of it.
Thank you, a little big part of it. Yeah, it's very humbling work, and it's lovely to finally put my degree thesis into practice, you know. I don't like when research just gathers dust, but to do it as well with like that in a time of conflict and uncertainty, but yet the feminine, like you said, the feminine is rising, and I think that was very important to share that insight with the women on the ground in Palestine, because their poor nervous systems they're in trauma, you know, and they're, like Fadwa said, you know, they're in this daze of it just creates so much tension in the system, and they can't see beyond it, and it's now that they need our support the most, you know, and that to know that it is possible, and everything that we can do, I suppose we will do to support them going forward. So yeah, it's really special, really humbling work. My heart's really in it, and like that, you know, we're talking about the deeply wounded masculine. There's no judgment in that either. It's moving beyond those old. It's just old conditioning, and you're seeing that with Israel and Palestine and beyond. It's that cycle of trauma that just repeats itself. So you've got the traumatized people that are then, because the Jews are highly traumatized from the Holocaust and from World War II, and they're now traumatizing the Palestinians. And you've got this, you know, this circle that just keeps continuing until somebody says, we have to move beyond this. We have to find a new way, because we're just creating more trauma for our children and our children's children, and the story will never stop until we change. So I think that's a gift of being Irish. We're lucky that in this lifetime we're seeing the new potential, you know. We're experiencing what's possible when you move beyond and heal and integrate.
And our men are suffering so much as well. Absolutely. It's not you know, and we have to hold all beings in our hearts and hold the intention that peace and that love and justice ripples out. So many people are suffering as a result, as you say, from this trauma that's just been cyclically repeated. So I think these platforms and bearing witness to people's stories are really an important part of healing. So thank you, Melanie, for all that you're doing, and Caitlin too. You're doing such great work.
She's something else, Caitlin Hanna. She joined Herstory 2 years ago, straight out of her master's in Maynooth, and I've seen her blossom and grow, and just she's a trailblazer in her own right. So yeah, it's been a great journey. We're a small, brilliant team. I feel very blessed. So I just like to, before you lead us into meditation, because I want you to close out with a meditation, I'll just say a few thank yous first, and then over to you. So a huge thanks to our team, to Caitlin, to We the People, our PR agency, and to our partners in the Czech Republic, in Slovenia, Egypt, and Palestine, to Salome and AkiDwA, and to the Anna Lynch Foundation for funding this project, the EU funding, and the Better Fund at the Community Foundation for Ireland, and to James and Abby Morrow as well, and to all the extended Herstory tribe, our speakers, our performers. It's a small army behind this, you know, but obviously a very peaceful army. We don't use any ever use anything other than pure love. Actually, it's fueled on love, a lot more love than money, unfortunately. That's the truth of it. But I'm feeling very grateful today, and that we're 5 years on, and that we're growing stronger and stronger against the odds in these challenging times. You know, it's all about love and solidarity, and that compassionate feminism that I really strongly believe in. So over to you, Susan Quirk. Yeah, looking forward to this.
Great.
Thank you.
So Melanie asked me to just do a little guided meditation, be maybe about 7 or 8 minutes. We'll keep it short and sweet. And so if it feels resonant for you to do so and you'd like to join in, maybe take a look, turn off your phone or put your phone on silent, just so no one has access to you for the next, roughly 10 minutes. If you have any social media apps open on your laptop or any devices, just close everything down. So this is your space and that you won't be interrupted. So if it feels good to do so, if it feels right to do so, I invite you to close your eyes and to just land in the chair that you're in. Just become aware of how your body is feeling, to notice how you are in this moment. How are you? Really feel into how you are in this moment without judgment, just with curiosity to notice how you really feel in this moment. After all of the stories you've heard, after your day, bring awareness into the body and to just notice how you are, how you really are. I invite you to take a very slow, deep breath in through the nose. Really fill the belly and draw further breath up into the chest, and just hold the breath for a couple of seconds. And release. And again, slow, deep breath in through the nose. Really fill the belly, draw breath into the chest and hold. Hold the breath. Just slowly release the breath. Slow, deep breaths. And another breath like this. Really slow, deep breath in through the nose. Fill the belly and the chest and hold this breath. Hold the breath. And release. And just let the breath fall into its own natural rhythm now. Let the breath settle. Just become aware of any tension in the body. Notice if there's any part of you that might be holding tension. You might notice it in the shoulders. Just allow the shoulders to soften and to melt. Let the shoulders drop and release any holding, any tension. The collarbones, just allow a release. Any tightness. Bring your awareness up to the neck, the back of the neck, the front of the neck, left side of the neck, and the right side of the neck. Just let all the muscles in the neck now soften and release and let go. The neck soften and melt. Bring your awareness into the throat and feel its warmth, feel its light. Just allow an opening, a softening of the throat. Release any shackles that may be surrounding the throat. Your voice is powerful, your truth is needed. And it is time now to speak our truth from a place of love in the world. And so allow the voice to soften, to open. Allow an opening of the throat. Bring your awareness up to the jaw. Allow the jaw to soften. The jaw soften even more. Release any clenching that might be here. Just let the jaw soften and melt. the forehead, your awareness to the forehead. Again, let the forehead soften and release. Let go of any holding here. Let the forehead soften and melt and let go. Bring your awareness to the top of the head. Again, allow a softening here, a loving opening, warmth. Allow the top of the head just to soften and release. Let go of any holding. Bring your awareness to the palms of your hand, the left hand and the right hand. Just notice any sensations here, any tingling. Become aware of the life force that you are, of the blood in your veins. And notice any sensations in the palm of the hands. Bring your awareness to the feet on the earth, the left foot, the right foot, and connect with the earth. Feel your feet plug in to the earth, to our Mother Earth. And imagine 2 little holes opening in the soles of the feet. And anything that you wish to let go of in your life right now, any tension, any stress, anything that you feel ready to release from your body, from the mind, from the heart, just allow it to pour down through the body, pour down through the legs, pour down through the feet, and pour into the earth beneath you that's happy to take it from you and alchemize it. And so I invite you to take 3 deep breaths in through the nose now. And with every exhale, just allow a release, a let go of any pain, of any grief, any tension to just pour down through the body and to be released and let go into the earth. And so we'll take the first breath together now. So take a big deep breath. Hold the breath. And on your exhale, just allow a release. Just let go, completely let go, and let it all pour out from the body down through the soles of the feet and fall into the earth beneath you. Just release and let go. Let go of whatever it is you need to let go of, that you'd like to let go of. And again, another big breath, real deep breath in. And release and let it all pour down through the body. Let go. Go, feel it all pour down into the earth. And one last breath like this, big deep breath. Catch everything you want to let go of. Make any sound you need to make. You might want to sound it to release. Make any sound that is pouring from you now and release, and let it pour into the earth beneath you. Sound your release. Let it go and let it fall into the earth. Fall into the earth beneath you. I invite you now to bring your awareness into the core of the earth, into the very center of the earth, to just gently, without any force or strain, just very gently allow your awareness to land into the very center of the earth, of the Mother. And feel her heartbeat. Feel the pulse of the Mother beat through the earth. Feel the love the earth and the Mother has for you. Feel it sync up and align with your own heartbeat. We all beat together as one, and this earth is our home. I invite you to draw a line of energy up from this heartbeat of the Mother, to draw it up, draw this energy up from the very core of the earth. And see that line of energy make its way up through the center of the earth, through all the layers, the rock, crystals, water tables, underground rivers, light, up through lava, oil, all the minerals, traveling up, 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 up under the foundations of the house that you're in, breaking ground up, up, up through the room, and traveling up, up, up through the soles of your feet. And allow this loving energy of the earth to travel up, up, up through the soles of the feet, pouring up the ankles, up the calves, up the knees, thighs, pouring up into the body, up the hips, up through our core, traveling up, up, up into the belly, up into the solar plexus, up into the heart, traveling up, up, up into the throat, up through the center of the head, traveling up through the top of the head, and pouring like a fountain, splaying like a fountain out through the top of the head, soothing like a balm everything in our field, bringing the love of the earth, of the feminine, and the love of the masculine, pouring its way all around our body. You bring your awareness into your own heart now, and drink your breath like a river of gold deep into the center of your heartbeat. Drink your breath into the center of the heart. Allow it to travel in through all the veils of consciousness in the heart, traveling in deep into the very sacred center of your heartbeat. Drink your breath into the center of the heart. Feel your heart pulse. Home is where the heart is. This is our place of home, our home resonance. And feel all of our hearts beat together as one. And allow this loving energy to ripple out throughout your chest, pouring out throughout your chest. Feel its warmth. Allow it to pulse into your veins, into your bloodstream. Send this loving energy into every particle of your being, to your cells, your DNA. And allow the love that is in your heart to fill you up with its golden warmth. And I invite you to send this loving energy to all beings on earth right now, to imagine a beam of light shining out from your heart. And send it out across the land, wherever you are, to all women, men, and children. And just see all the hearts of all beings on the earth now awaken to love, to peace, that all beings find this place of love within, this place of home within and without. There is enough here for all of us. And that love prevails across this earth and this land, all lands, all oceans. And see all hearts all across the earth now light up. All beings light up with this love that we share. Just bring your awareness back into your own heartbeat now. You can place a hand in your heart and place any desire that you have for you in your own life now. What is your deepest desire? What do you yearn for in this moment? And to place that in your heart now. And to breathe 3 slow, gentle breaths into the heart. To breathe these beautiful breaths into this desire in the heart now. Whatever you yearn for, your deepest desire, I invite you to breathe a breath into the heart now. And to feel it land into the heart space. And so take a deep breath into the heart, into this desire. We activate it with our breath. And another breath into the heart. One last breath like this into the heart space. And may it be so, may it be so, may it be so. So slowly just bring your awareness into the body again. Just notice how the body feels. Feel your feet on the earth. Slowly start to move the fingers, the toes, wrists, ankles. Gently move the head from side to side. And to really hold compassion for yourself in this moment, gentle tenderness for where you are, for whatever is happening in your life in this moment, to hold a space of compassion and gentleness and love for all that you are, for all that you have experienced, and for all that is to come. We'll go gently about our day. Whenever you're ready, you can slowly open the eyes and bring your awareness back into the space and take your time. So back over to you, Melanie. Oh, you're muted, Melanie.
Thank you, Susan. That was stunning. Beautiful finale to a beautiful birthday. So I don't want to disturb the peace that we're all feeling now. Thank you to everybody and have a wonderful day.
Thank you.